Dual wield, you suck. Anyway, so we're gonna do a more serious version of the Devil's Advocates. Actually have some grown up talk.
Go.
And today I'm surrounded by other people in touch with their inner assholes. So, all right, Irate Prostate, if you want to introduce you and your lovely assistant there.
Hey, it's all right, man. What's up, folks? And this is my lovely better half. This is Uzi Q.
Hello.
All right, and then we got Sir Adamantine or Adamantine. How do we pronounce that?
Either or works. I'm the frequently inebriated Griffin.
Well, I'm drinking a caramel apple type concoction right now, so. All right, and then we've got Spike, the Impaler over there.
Hi, I'm Spike. Yeah, hi.
And then we got Cringy himself. Introduce yourself, Mr. Dick.
I'm the Cringy Dick, better known as Dick Balls, and I'm watching the baseball game right now.
Games are fun. All right, speaking of games, let's play a game. So today we have 7 topics, and we have Brianna, woohoo, Texas Tech, 50, intentional AIDS, ISIS with fire, homo don't play that, and hide and seek news with Harvey. So
hold on, you said homo don't play that?
Yeah, homo don't play that.
Perfect.
So that's the one that's about the gay guys kicking the Christians out, both being real disgusting about the whole situation. So, and I'm not fancy like Merc is. I don't have any questions typed up or anything. I just have the topics and then open them up for discussion about what I found out, and then we'll see where it goes. This is, test. This is only a test.
Okay, perfect.
So,
Sounds
right,
like fun.
Let's spin the wheel of immorality. And we've got Texas Tech. So I don't know if anybody knew about this, but there was a shooting at Texas Tech University. And it happened, it didn't really get a lot of press from what I saw, but it was a guy who was brought onto campus or brought in for questioning to the security station. And he was acting kind of edgy and funny. And he ended up shooting a police officer and killing him. And they couldn't find him for several hours. And just let's see if I can pull up the news story. But did anybody else hear about that story?
No.
Yeah, that was
I've heard
pretty
of it.
national.
I thought I heard about it.
The first place I heard about it was honestly Scribe Light on one of those streams.
Yeah.
And then I ended up subscribing to Texas Tech's Twitter to get more updates.
Okay.
Yeah, I never heard about that.
All right, so here we go.
Was it an accidental shooting or did
Oh,
you do
no.
it purposely?
Oh, here we go. So we've got police say student confesses to fatal shooting of Texas Tech cop. A Texas Tech student has been charged with the murder of a university police officer. Lubbock police say the suspect confessed to the crime, saying he was the one that shot their friend. Pictured is Hollis Daniels III. A whole whopping 19 was charged with capital murder of a peace officer in the shooting of a campus officer at the Texas Tech police headquarters on Monday. Now, the story continues with a university spokesman tells NPR that campus police were dispatched to the room of Hollis Daniels III, 19, to check on him. That's a weird way to describe a person. They need to spell, like, they need a better editor. But after his suite mates contacted the university with concerns about his welfare. While police were en route, Daniel's mother called the university hotline and said that her son had expressed suicidal thoughts. So obviously something had happened for that outreach to occur, said Chris Cook, a spokesman for the university. When university police arrived, they discovered drugs and drug paraphernalia in Daniel's room. Officers arrested Daniels, a communication studies major, and took him to the police station for, quote, standard debriefing, according to a university statement. The charge took a fatal turn in this West Texas city. According to an affidavit filed by Lubbock Police, Thomas Bonds, Texas Tech's police officer Floyd East was completing paperwork at the computers in the university, and Daniels was not wearing handcuffs. And let's try if we can sum this up, for love of mercy. And anyway, another officer left the room and suddenly heard a bang. When that officer returned to the briefing room, East was suffering a gunshot wound and a shell casing was nearby. East's body camera was missing and his pistol was holstered. So yeah, and then
Jesus.
they went into lockdown, and for several hours there was tweets saying it's still not safe. It's still not safe. They couldn't find him.
Where'd the other
So-
gun come from? I'm confused.
Apparently he had one, but let's see. Okay.
Sounds like a messed up.
Oh, see, he had a
person.
loaded .45 pistol.
Okay.
Because when they found him and they took him into custody, a loaded .45 pistol and a police body camera were found nearby. So he had the weapon. Let's see if it says here. Oh, he says, I messed up. He said that he'd been arrested and taken to the police department where he did something illogical. You shot a man. It's something illogical? What is he, a freaking Vulcan?
Did he shoot him in the head?
I mean,
Did he shoot him in the head?
it just said it was a gunshot wound.
I thought it said it shot him in the chest, baby.
Oh shit. And then the Associated Press reports that Daniels is the son of H.A. Dan Daniels, a prominent figure and former city councilman in Seguin, Texas, 35 miles northeast of San Antonio. So it's a politician's kid.
Yeah, so it sounds like a
Great.
rich boy is what I
So,
thought.
so he was probably spoiled and poorly parented, basically.
Basically. Yeah.
All the above.
That would be my guess.
I did something illogical. And see, this got swept under the rug, like, because this was shortly after the Las Vegas shooting, because this just happened a couple days ago. And I'm just surprised there's not big, ramp ups to try to get gun laws changed or something.
Well, it is Texas.
True.
It's like I did something logical. It's like, no shit, Mr. Spock. Damn.
Oh, damn. I was like, I don't get it. So then we got a point. What about the chat? You guys got anything to input on this situation? Probably not. There's a little bit of a delay. But yeah, it's just I saw this and like how quickly it got, just brushed over. Yeah, it was like, oh, there's a shooting in Texas, and then people just let it go.
Yeah, I think the only reason that probably happened is because the anti-gun people have a lot more ammunition, if you will, with Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that storyline's changing all the time too. I didn't have enough research to go in and talk about that one today, and plus other people are talking about it. So I figured I'd pull up some subjects maybe weren't as well discussed right now. So
yeah, the Vegas thing that's developing is that, well, first of all, the Hispanic guard that was shot is alive. So it's like nobody said that ever since the shooting. Nobody said that this dude was still alive. They just said they kept mentioning his name. He was the first one that was shot, right? So the dude gets shot. He's in the hallway for 6 minutes while the other guy, God knows, what the shooter's doing. And then then 6 minutes later, the shooter starts up. It's really strange. The Vegas thing is going to be an interesting development. Anyway.
yeah.
I know that's not one of our subjects, but let me just put it out there. I still think that it's going to end up being Islamic related. His wife being from the Philippines, too much of a coincidence.
Oh yeah, they're talking about the brother, and because when I first saw that interview, other people were saying, "Oh, he's emotionally, he's just reaction out of emotion. He doesn't understand." I'm like, no, that's a liar right there. He's trying to pull out answers, something that sounds good, sympathize, empathize with the victims, distract, push it away from you. I didn't like the brother's interview from the word go. But I just think everybody's an asshole and has something to hide. So I don't know.
I honestly just can't have an opinion on this because I really don't know much about it. I would have to look more into it because this is the first I've heard of it.
The gift of the water, like a little wad of cocaine that was hanging out the dude's nose right before he started talking to the news person.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, it looked like about a good at least 1/10 of a gram, little chunk of coke, and the dude goes, he snorts it up and then starts talking, man. And it was a gift. It's out there somewhere. So
Jesus,
and it's the brother.
Yeah, it's it. We'll see the whole Texas, or not the Texas, but the Las Vegas shooting. I was up and I just happened to be doing something, and then all of a sudden I saw on my Twitter feed that there was something about a shooting in Vegas. I'm like, no, this is a troll. This is BS. And then it just blew up, and then a bunch of us we did a stream about it. We were talking about it and giving updates as to what was happening without giving away police positions. And I was listening to the online, the dispatch, the radio feed. I was listening to the police officers and what they were saying in real time. And
you're the one that posted that link, right?
Yep, that was me.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, cool. That was cool. Thanks.
So yeah, they call me misinformation. So anybody got anything else on Texas Tech, or should I spin the wheel?
I'm ready to spin the wheel. It's depressing.
All right, I spin it. Oh, Merck closed all my windows I had open. Intentional AIDS. I guess y'all can guess what this is about. And I'm not talking about YouTube streams.
Let me try.
This
it has something to do with Geek Thulu.
No. That's the other intentional AIDS.
Is this the thing out in California? The law is.
Yep. That it is.
It's a misdemeanor or something like that.
Yeah, they changed it because it used to be, I believe, an 8-year sentence. And now they've changed it to a 9-month sentence. And it's not just AIDS and HIV, it's other communicable diseases. That if you knowingly infect anybody with any disease or illness, because before there were other misdemeanors that were, I believe, 6 months, it's been reduced down to 90 days. So you can literally give people viruses, illnesses, and stuff that could lead to long-term health issues. Hep C was included in this bill. And they're talking about, it's stigmatizing the gay community. No, it's not. It's these people that go out there and intentionally infect and take down as many as they can with them. That's what that was.
That has nothing. It has nothing to do with the gay community. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Big pharma, isn't it?
You don't. You don't have to have AIDS if you're gay.
No.
You don't have to be gay to have AIDS either.
Quite easy not to, really. And trust me, I'm an expert on this subject.
Do you think it's big pharma, man? That's the first thing that popped in my head. It was like, well, they're not selling enough of this stuff now. It's gotten to a manageable level where most people are managing their symptoms, and it's not being spread because of safe practices and stuff. So there's not as much of the drugs being sold now as there were. So of course, if they do this, then California. The drug sales are going, go higher. I don't know.
I can't think for the life of me why any person in any kind of authority would want to do this at all. I mean, they were finally getting a control on this epidemic, and that it's also for people that donate blood and organs and stuff like that. People that are supposedly trying to save a life, giving them a disease that could hinder their life. I mean,
my gosh, so this makes me think of this documentary I watched about this gentleman's club. I think it's either a gentleman's club or a gay club, but their goal is to get AIDS. Like they're like, I might as well get it and get it over with. And this was back when the AIDS epidemic was happening. I just watched this recently, but it was so disturbing. These men were like paying to get AIDS, essentially. And they would have creepy. Like huge like infected parties and stuff. And another question I have, does this have something to do with that law they passed in California where they basically have made it you get less sentence for purposely infecting someone, and then they have harsher laws now for if you misgender someone? Yeah. Is this what I'm thinking of?
That's exactly what you're thinking of, I think.
Okay.
That's what this was based on, was the law that they it doesn't go into effect until January. Thank God, there's still some time. But I almost wonder if it's like a distraction technique or something, because honestly, I just pulled up a thing of 13 people who deliberately infected others with AIDS. And this is back in 2015.
Well, shouldn't you be marked as a terrorist if you do that?
Oh, no, terrorists are bad. There are no terrorists. They're just misunderstood people with darker skin.
I think the original 8-year sentence was too light.
Yeah.
To do this intentionally.
You're taking away someone's entire life, their ability to provide for their families, to ever have families.
You're almost certainly not killing them, but you're making their life suck for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And you're probably making the state pay about $4,000 a month for their medications.
It's amazing.
Yeah. See, even Charlie Sheen claims that he's had unprotected sex with 2 people since becoming aware of his infection, but he insists it's impossible he transmitted it to either of those people. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, if they're protecting people like Charlie Sheen, I mean, I think Charlie Sheen's like a train wreck I can't help but watch. But I mean, still, I mean, like a dozen men injected with HIV positive blood. There was a guy in Europe that he had intentionally infected, I believe, 3 and attempted to infect 4 others or something around there. And he would even send messages to the people after he had sex with them like, haha, I tore a hole in the condom. You were too stupid to notice. Another one was, oh, you might have a fever or the chills, but I've got AIDS.
Oh my God. I heard about that.
Yeah.
Like I said, it brings it back to that fucked up party. It's like the fucking Californians don't give a fuck that they're getting AIDS just as long as you get their pronouns right. Am I right?
Right.
That is so fucked up.
Here AIDS. You have AIDS. Oh, you mispronounced or you misgendered them. You're going to prison.
Yeah, they think basically the statements the guy made about why he was trying to do this is like, it's time to destigmatize those with HIV as untouchables. Nobody really considers them untouchables anymore. People, they're accepted in workplaces. We have a more understanding about how it's transmitted and, you know, how to protect yourself. I mean, there's been couples that have had one person that was HIV positive and the other partner never got infected because of precautionary measures and stuff like that. So people really aren't stigmatized anymore. As a matter of fact, people are more empathetic towards them and try to help them and, you know, reach out to them. And so this is just horse shit that they're doing this. Flat out horse shit.
Do any of you watch South Park?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, do you remember the episode where Cartman got AIDS?
Yeah, and he gave it to Stan.
When I first heard about the story,
Kyle.
that was the first thing I thought of was that episode.
Yeah, because like he gave it to Kyle on purpose, and then he was trying to get a free flight, and he's like, "I have AIDS," and they were like, "Well, sorry, AIDS is out, cancer is in."
It's the new AIDS. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, what was it? Magic Johnson's been HIV positive for like 25 years now.
Yeah.
It's the money. He probably injects himself.
Oh, there was that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, I just couldn't believe this, that people, you know, they're just talking about like how wrong it is. And I really haven't heard anybody bring up these cases where people were intentionally infected. People tried to take people down just because they were upset, you know. And honestly, those laws need to be in place. And like Philip DeFranco even said that rather than decriminalizing this, maybe make treatment and testing more available, because part of what they were trying to say was, oh, well, if we criminalize it, people won't come forward and get tested and they won't do this, they won't do that. Yet they've seen a decrease in the HIV contraction.
Well, so, you know, what you just said before, though, the psychology of this is exactly the same as a mass killer. It's taking you're miserable, take down people with you.
Yeah.
That have nothing to do with your problems.
You know, a long time ago, I came to terms with like other people being, you know, not like non-committal oriented and, you know, full of infidelities or whatever. And I came to the terms, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get so upset about someone cheating on me. But what I am going to get upset about is if you sleep with others and then you come back and sleep with me and you take away my choice. And that's just like a base thing of like, you know, they slept with someone that I don't agree with. I don't know what that person's clean or not. I didn't even really think about the whole HIV or AIDS thing. It was more other things that could be treated with medications. As just don't come and sleep with me. You take away my choice at that point. You have taken that from me. And now they're not only taking that away, they're encouraging it is what it feels like. They're glorifying it.
We can always go with the Steven Crowder. Have you heard what he believes? That AIDS just doesn't exist?
I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
He actually believes that. And he's like, oh, well, you have a really low chance if you're a straight person and you have sex with someone who has AIDS to get AIDS. I'm like, okay, well, that's not how it works. But okay.
I have to wonder if people like that are intentionally, you know, pulling themselves off as idiots just to get responses and reactions, because even thumbs down on a video counts as an interaction with your video. So
I like
just,
Steven Crowder, but that was just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Well, what's funny, back when they didn't know anything, back in the 80s when they didn't know anything about it, they used to literally think that AIDS was the gay man's disease.
goddamn. Yeah, sorry, I just saw Agnosis over here. I finally made the top 3 in his sexy list.
Who?
Agnosis over here. All right, I'm off for the night. Good news. Official sexiness ranking, red and only number 1's. Number 2 is Sophie. 3 is Nicholas Davis. 4 is Dual Wield. And 5 is Irate Prostate. 5 is Adamantine. Put it away. It's scary.
Yeah. Thanks for ranking me last, you bastard.
Yeah, I didn't even get ranked.
Oh my God. But good night, Agnosis. Thanks for coming by. We needed
for
our
not
own
ranking
form of
me.
AIDS.
But yeah, I know. I was thinking Steven Crowder, like, AIDS is basically gone now. AIDS is this, AIDS is that. No, it's still a huge problem. It's just kind of been swept under the rug. Just like in South Park, they said,
Yeah.
oh, AIDS isn't in anymore. It's all about cancer.
Isn't that sad, though? There actually are trendy diseases and illnesses.
Yeah, well, like breast cancer is huge on the trendy list. Gotta save them boobies.
Right? Save the titties on the men and the women. That's another topic I want to get into, is that men really have no resources for breast cancer treatment and all that.
Yeah, I know. It's really sad.
Oh God, let's spread it to others so we don't feel so alone. Sounds like my YouTube channel. So, there was another guy up in Canada who did this, that he came in and intentionally infected 5 women. He was actually charged and convicted of murder because one of the victims died. That's this guy right here, Johnson Aziga. So, yeah. Oh, 11 women. I didn't even know. It's like I'd heard 5, but wow. And 2 died. Wow. So, yeah, it's just
Isn't immigration great?
Yay. Oh my God. Well, let's see. There's actually some funny stuff in here. So let's see. I'll wait till it lands on it though. So let's see. All right, let's spin the wheel. Let's see if we land on cancer instead of AIDS. Oh, ISIS with fire. Okay, so I don't know if anybody's really paid attention to the news about the California fires, because California wildfires are, I swear to God, season in, season out thing. Even during the middle of winter, they can end up, having problems with forest fires. But
yeah, I've been dealing with that all day long.
Yeah, it's like there's mass, like, God, I don't know how many acres right now, but apparently ISIS was claiming that they're the reason behind a bunch of our forest fires, and they're actually putting out information and pamphlets about how to create ember bombs to start forest fires.
Oh my God.
Because, I mean, think about it. If you destroy people's land, their homes, ways to produce crops, I mean, a fire could do way more than just take away a person's place to live.
Yeah.
It can really, really decimate a population across the nation. I mean, because look at, the different crops and different things that actually come out of California, and then up here in Washington, all those forest fires, but that was some idiot kid with a firework. But what do you guys think about the possibility that ISIS is actually responsible for creating ember bombs? Because they were not talking about how this fire started yet. And usually they're pretty quick on the button with that.
I have no idea if they are or not, but if you look at it from their side, that's not a bad tactic, because how do you protect against that?
You can't literally be on every acre at every minute of the day.
Exactly.
And in certain areas, all you got to do is give it a little bit of a spark and it goes up. So.
No, but they can do, like, make gaps in the forest, like make, like, every so often they can make like gaps like the size of football fields. So if there is a fire, they can they'll stop the forest will stop at a gap, and then and that'll pretty much be the end of the fire at the end of the road. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trees in this country.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of forests that people don't really even go through.
I would love for ISIS to come up here and try to burn down our Pacific Northwest trees because they're wet all the time.
Although, unfortunately, actually, something got brought up during the forest fire with the whole thing with Oregon and Western Washington, that ever since they started doing that let's save a tree bullshit and not cutting out the old growth and clearing the brush and all that and like let's save the trees, ever since they started enacting that, I believe in the like late 60s, early 70s when they started to first do those things, fires have been a major problem almost yearly now, and it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, that's up in the mountains.
And I mean, it's like there's no clear ground anymore, and all these like hippie tree huggers are like, oh well, nature will take care of itself. Yeah, that's exactly what nature's doing, is starting these fires and clearing out the dead growth that we should have cleared out. Fuck the voles and the moles. Let's clear out the brush and prevent this stuff.
It's ridiculous up here. There's too many hippies.
Right, and they don't understand. We're back, by the way. Sorry about that, y'all.
That's all right.
Did y'all notice, by the way?
Yeah, I did. I was paying attention.
Okay,
oh, sorry, I didn't notice. I'm just kidding.
I disappeared and y'all didn't notice. I'm crying, man. Good.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
But no, it makes sense though with because honestly, if they were to do ember bombs or just like little things, it's not like they're buying mass explosives or flammables. They don't have to do much to make these things.
No. You could just you can just get fucking sparklers, put them together and make a sparkler bomb.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't really take much.
Yeah, literally, you could use anything just to start a. So, that's interesting. I didn't know ISIS was like, "Hey, we're doing this." Doesn't surprise me.
So, where are they doing this now?
Well, that's
California.
Yeah, because of all the fires and like how much damage has been done. That was a claim that they were that was trending for a little bit on like some of like other social medias and on the radio station on 97.3 I was listening to, and they're talking about ISIS creating these ember bombs and trying to take credit. But then again, you got to think about it. ISIS has been trying to take credit for just about everything that has been detrimental or damaging to the United States, just to create that sense of, Al Qaeda is this big bad thing that's Al Qaeda and ISIS, they're going to do bad things to us and we can't prevent it. And unfortunately,
that's just the government.
With them claiming so much, it's hard to believe they're doing anything.
Or maybe they're somebody's claiming that it's ISIS claiming to do that, so nobody will believe it. That the ISIS, said that the dude in Las Vegas, was doing that in the name of ISIS. You see?
I don't think he did that.
It's a psyop.
I don't think that. I think that guy was just nuts, and I think that he. I mean, there's MK Ultra.
Right.
Maybe somebody was controlling his mind. Who knows? The possibilities are endless. But I don't believe that ISIS had anything to do with the Las Vegas shooting. I don't think that guy was a Muslim lover or anything.
I think his wife was. Why does a rich 64-year-old retired guy go and shoot hundreds of people? Like, that just doesn't happen. His life sounds perfect, pretty much. So if there's something we don't know about him, like he's got some sort of terminal disease, he's going to off himself and maybe a couple of personal people that he really hates. He's not going to do a mass shooting for that. And if he was completely mentally fucked up, it would have come out long before 64.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know, but I don't see. I don't even know. I just don't see how he could be with ISIS. It just doesn't make sense. He's a white guy.
Well, white people can't be with ISIS? Is that what you're saying?
No.
See, right. Islam is an ideology. It's not a fucking race.
Yeah.
And that's what people are, they're trying to make it a racial issue, and it's not, man. It has nothing to do with race.
No, I know that ISIS, like, there are people who are obviously, like, like the ideas of ISIS, some crazy white people, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like I feel like anything that's happening with ISIS is like, oh, I did it. But I don't think it's them. I think it's just them trying to like show their balls.
Mary, I just accidentally blocked you in the chat. God damn it.
Oh. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble.
Did I? Yep. Shit. Hold on. Let me fix this. Unblock.
Like a true redhead.
Unblock.
Yeah, I'm not blocked.
Oh my god. Oh no, it was Crunchy Dick I did that to. I was trying to do that. Whoops. ISIS did it. It was ISIS. ISIS made me do it.
Oh god damn it. ISIS is at it again.
Oh my god. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, I think I got everybody. Okay, there we go. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, frog dog. I really need to pay attention to the chat more often. Freaking Snake said, or I am Snack said, did you see Crowder's discussion with Jeff Holiday? They talked it out and Crowder explained things differently about the AIDS.
Oh.
About the HIV.
When did that happen?
It's way back up there.
ISIS has claimed the failure of Mass Effect Andromeda as real truth. Right there. I just logged onto my computer so that I could see the comments.
Yeah.
Why did someone deleted Dick Balls' message?
No, it was when I accidentally blocked him. He got cock blocked.
Literally.
Oh my god. So I think we're done with ISIS with fire.
Yeah, I'm done with this conversation.
All right, let's see.
A song of fire and ISIS.
Oh, the 50. Let's talk about cops getting in trouble and what you know. This I started this one because where I live here in Washington, there was this police officer up north, or a couple of police officers that they had this car pulled over, and they were suspicious about the activity and what they were doing. So they went up, and you can hear on the body cam where the officer slams his hand on the hood to get the people out of the vehicle or something. The car speeds away, and the officers open up fire. And then the car goes about 30 feet or so, and then it stops, and the officers open fire again. And the car takes off. The car gets away from the police officers. And then when they find the car, there was only minimal amount of blood. It was probably from glass flying and everything. So nobody got shot and killed or hurt or anything. But in Seattle, or it's I can't remember exactly what the jurisdiction is, but according to their handbook, police officers are not allowed to fire into a vehicle or from a vehicle unless their lives are put in jeopardy by something other than the vehicle. So, I mean, the car speeding away or almost hitting the officer is not an excuse for people or for the officers in this area. They can't shoot at them to stop them. And the soft lefties are like, oh, well, you don't know if there's an innocent victim in the car and somebody innocent could get hurt. And then other people have pointed out, well, what if that person was a terrorist or trying to use that vehicle to mow people down? And the only way you can stop them is to shoot them. So that just, brought up a good point. Is it okay for them to actually shoot into a vehicle, not knowing if people are armed or not? Or should they hold fire? What are people's points of view or thoughts on that?
But you did say the vehicle was already plowing people down, correct?
No, this one wasn't. This one was, they were trying to get away from the officers. And it didn't hit anybody, thankfully, but they almost ran the officer over. And they really didn't have anything other than the people had suspicious activity, from what I heard. Mary might have heard more about this.
Hold on, I'm just cleaning my niece up.
How did it almost hit the officer, though? That's the question. Did they try to literally was the officer standing in front of the hood and they tried to mow the officer over? Is that what happened?
Here we go. Here's a video. Can you guys see the screen I've got with? Do you see anything other than the wheel, or can you only see the wheel?
The wheel.
The wheel.
I fixed it. Hold on. All right. Can you see it now? Can you see the article?
Yeah, I can see it. So really quick question: was this the kid that was he African American?
I don't. This is the one that happened on the 8th, just 3 or 4 days ago.
Okay, never mind. I was thinking of the one where that guy just started shooting that kid who had a kid in the back seat.
Oh no, that was a different one. No.
Okay.
This is one in East Lake in Washington.
I am really out of the loop with the news.
Let's see. Can we hear anything?
Usually people have to put their mics by the speakers.
Can you hear it? It's just you can only hear it. Please stop. All right, hold on. Let's see here. Hold on.
Is that in the hood?
Hold on.
It looks like a bunch of apartments, or it could be a project.
Can you guys hear the police now?
No.
It looks like the projects, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've got my headphones on top of the microphone.
Sorry. Okay, I can hear it. Holy fuck.
Holy shit.
Shit.
Well, they are shitty shots. They didn't hit anything. That was mad.
That's messed up, man.
Stupid motherfuckers.
Why would you just start like shooting?
Yeah, I think the shooting was a little uncalled for. They could have shot the tires out or something.
That close and they can't hit shit.
Dude.
They must be stormtroopers.
There must be some
Yeah. So you can kind of see the different body cam footage. The audio is pretty much the damn same.
Crazy.
Right.
You can hear somebody
that
like
happened in
screaming in the
Washington.
background.
And it's really weird that happened here because the police officers here are like really pussy. Like they're all pussies.
Really?
And they're afraid to do their job. Like,
and it was just a suspicious vehicle call.
Okay, so for example, my uncle was a police officer. He actually just retired a couple of years ago. And he said like they couldn't pull over anyone anymore, even if they were being suspicious, because they had so many lawsuits come through of accusations of being racist and stuff. But this is ridiculous. Like, they're just randomly shooting at this person they saw. I didn't see if he was doing anything suspicious. Did it show what he was doing?
No, it didn't.
Yeah. No, because all it was is you see them pull up and they got the call. It was a suspicious vehicle and they pull their guns out automatically. I'm like, why the hell are you pulling your guns out like that? Maybe there was more in the report that we don't know about.
Right.
But, I mean, why would you draw a gun for a suspicious vehicle? That's my question.
Right.
And I'm usually a big police officer supporter.
Yeah,
and yeah, so please, because the cops deal with a lot of assholes and dishonest people and just real salt of the earth kind of folks.
Well, you do know in 2000 that a judge ruled in Connecticut and became precedent pretty much that I think it was a Connecticut police department, they could preferentially not hire the people with the higher IQs because I swear to God, this is the fucking truth, man.
It makes sense.
Google it, right? Because they were concerned that I think it had to do with like being replaced by, people that were ambitious. These were guys trying to hold on to their jobs or some shit. Anyway, but their excuse was that they get too bored and then they quit after like a couple of years because intellectually the job just wouldn't be challenging enough to them, right? And now we've got like what, 3 generations of police officers, or two or 3 generations of police officers that primarily the majority of them have less than a 120 to 130 IQ.
Yeah.
If you think about that.
Yeah.
Really hard being a police officer. Like the police in downtown Seattle deal with shit all the time of like just SJWs and random people like yelling shit at them.
Yeah. And then there's that.
Yeah, I don't think being a cop would be particularly boring. I think it would be more stressful than anything else.
Yeah, I would.
Right.
I think the logic behind that was the dude didn't want to, hire people that were smarter than him that could steal his job. I really think it was that base. I really, because it just always baffles me. I keep going to that article. It's on ABC.
Well, no, I heard about that too, and that'll be a genius law to put in. If you're like the police commissioner, and you want to bring in a bunch of dummies, and none of them, and nobody will be able to grab your job from you.
Exactly.
Of course, the side effect is that as a result, you'll be spending your entire career dealing with lawsuits.
Exactly, that's true.
Yeah, that's exactly what my uncle was saying. I mean, like he wasn't racist or anything, but he said like at some point he got scared to pull over black people because he thought they were gonna be like, "You're racist. I'm gonna file a complaint," and then he would get fired for being accused of being racist.
Well, out here in Washington, that's pretty much it. I mean, you remember when they had those kids in Olympia that they stole the beer from the Safeway? And they started the big freaking hoopla that happened. I was driving through the morning after when they were still like cordoning off the area and looking through things, but everybody was seriously handling the situation with kid gloves because honestly, officers get their hands tied, but there's a lot of assholes out there. I've been pulled over 8 times out of 10 when I've dealt with an officer. They're being a jackass. And, I've actually been manhandled. I am a white female. Okay, definitely no privilege here other than the fact that I'm white. And these white officers, like right after my surgery, they put me in handcuffs because I was 2 blocks away from my house. There was a big Redneck festival going on, but they didn't want to pull over the people coming in with the tourism dollars. They pulled my ass over because we'd had a broken taillight over the summer and we just never got around to replacing the plastic. So we had that tape over it. And me not being, smart enough to think about, okay, well, maybe we should check on that tape or just get that damn light fixed. It was, it shone through, so it was kind of clear, but you could still see the red. And they said, oh, it was because my taillight was clear. It violated a law, blah, 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 and pulled me over, put my hands behind my back, jerked my shoulders up, and handcuffed me not even 2 blocks from my house. 2 blocks from my house. And then they got a call because there was this 35-year-old woman who was unresponsive in her home, and they thought it was domestic violence or something. Because I lived in like fenced off area with like a housing development, and they're like, well, if you were to drive home, we wouldn't be here to stop you. I'm like, you dirty motherfuckers. I'm like, are you serious? You were ready to detain me. You get my hands up behind my back, and my orthopedic had a few words for him, but we went to small town court and dealt with that. But still, it's like. So I was like, I don't want to hear the black people say they're the ones getting profiled. No, they do it to white people too. You just don't hear us whine about it as much.
Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with cops just a few times, but generally, like all of the run-ins I've had with the police, like they've always been nice to me, especially in the situations that I've ran into.
Well, sometimes, the last time I really had to deal with law enforcement, and I'm not going to go into it, but the guy was a little man, for one thing, and he was it was a state trooper. And
those guys are assholes.
Oh my God, he was it was a power thing.
God help you if you get a bike cop that his bike's in the shop too.
Well, it was ridiculous, and the whole situation made me, and I'm a big pro cop person. I have relatives who are cops, and it just made me a little paranoid for a while. Because this guy treated me like, I just killed somebody or something. No. So,
Yeah.
Uzi, did you say he was short?
yeah, he was a little man.
There's the reason why.
When you're taller than the cop, you're fucked. And see, the
Yeah.
problem is, it's like in our tiny town, we live in a small redneck town, and they were all pissed off anyway because they were getting ready to lose their contract with an adjoining township because they weren't able to respond to calls quick enough or, you know, anything like that. There was a big thing going on in our little town. And so the cops were pretty pissed off that summer. And this was, God, I want to say almost 4 years ago now. And all I was doing is I shouldn't have been out that late. I was putting up flyers because I was going to take advantage like everybody else in town. We were having a yard sale while everybody was in for this big music festival. Like I should not have been out that late putting up flyers. I wouldn't have gotten their attention. But I mean, they'll to answer your question, Renegade Walrus, it was basically they were looking for somebody to ticket. And because I get panic attacks, they used to be really bad because that was right after my accident. And I lost all my ability to like use all my coping mechanisms I used to have. And it's like I was getting like panicky. I'm like, oh my God, my kids are at home. You know, they're asleep. What's going to happen when they wake up? And, you know, I'm freaking out and worrying because I don't care who you are. You know, you see those sex lights in your rearview mirror, you break out in a cold sweat. I mean,
Yeah,
I see my mother-in-law who hasn't gotten a speeding ticket in 35 years, and she sees blue and reds in her rear view, and she starts freaking out. And she used to work for the Department of Corrections.
I have a funny story.
Did you say sex lights?
Yeah, because, you know, when those go on, somebody's getting fucked.
So I got pulled over once, and I was driving to my ex's house, and the reason I got pulled over was because of my headlight. It had fallen out of my car and was hanging. So he pulled me over, and he's like, your blinker and your headlight is gone. I was like, oh, yeah, I haven't taped it in. He's like, here, give me some tape. I'll tape it for you.
My God. I can... See, I've never even been able to, like, play that, like, coy route. I automatically, like, start panicking. I was like, I never, ever wanted to be in trouble. I was the oldest out of all 4 kids. I never wanted to be in trouble. And I was always worried, whatever I do, I'm going to get it when I get home. Either mom or dad was going to get me when I got back.
I still feel that way,
and that
too.
Carried over into adulthood. So it's like, I start to, like, tear up, and I'm like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. And I try to explain what's going on. And when somebody's panicking and freaking out, that's not exactly coy or anything. And people aren't going to try to flirt with you out of it. They're just like, oh, my God, this bubbling mess needs to shut the fuck up and get the hell out of my sight.
I'm such a bad liar. I couldn't cry my way out with anything.
Oh, God, no, yeah.
If I cry, you know something's really wrong. I have anxiety also. So
yeah, it's like I usually cry when I'm mad, and then I cry more because I cried. Because I'm mad I cried. Yeah. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Buckshot, you're lucky. They ask for your phone number. They do the credit card swipe. You got to ask them to take you out to dinner first.
Oh, Jesus.
Experiences with cops are so very dependent upon the individual department, though. I mean,
true, very true.
Like,
yeah,
I work in the downtown of a big city, and yeah, I would not want to be pulled over by one of those cops. But I live in a suburb, and these cops just fine.
Well, see, I find it's the tiny town cops or the really big town cops that have hard-ons for people.
Bing.
I mean, you find the mid-ground cops, like where I grew up, it was like a mid-sized town. We had just got our cityhood, and we we're no longer an unincorporated part of the county. And we had, like, we were starting to become like quite the booming little economy. I had one cop that really hated my gut because we used to play a game with the cops that they didn't like. It was harmless, but there was a curfew at 10 o'clock, and there was nothing else for 16-year-olds to do other than to get the cops' attention and run.
What's that noise?
Oh, sorry, I'm typing.
You going brown bomber on us, Mary?
Oh, I'm attacking my keyboard.
But it's those midtown cops seem to be pretty understanding, because whenever I got pulled over in my old hometown where I grew up, for my formidable years of like mid-teens and all that, no problem. As long as it wasn't that one cop, because there's always that one cop in every department that just has it out for people. But everybody else was pretty cool. And they're really understanding, and they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. We're all right. But the tiny town cops with Barney Fife and friends, or the big cops where they're looking for that next county promotion, you know, those are ones you got to watch out for.
Well,
I can understand the big city ones being dicks because they're the ones who deal with all the shootings and crap like that.
Oh God, like in Olympia, I went to this bar, and it was right down the street from where they have these drag shows, and I love drag shows. They're so amazing and so much fun. But I went behind this this place where they were doing karaoke, and I went to go have a cigarette, and these people were straight smoking out of crack pipes. Like, no shit, no hiding it, no shame or anything. They were getting cracked right there. All right. And so I went into the establishment, and I'm like, hey, do you realize these people are smoking crack and selling crack behind your like not even 10 feet from your bouncer? He's like, oh yeah, that happens all the time. I'm like, what? He's like, well, if I call the cops, they know what's happening. They're more worried about the stuff they don't know about. Blew my goddamn mind.
Dude.
Yeah. And that's the capital of Washington.
Here, our county has really created this huge cottage industry out of DUI class, and I mean, and it's just like they're rolling in ridiculous amounts of numbers and revenue as a result of that. It's mind blowing. I went to some meetings in the past in the little clubhouse where they had them. I mean, every week, so there would be like 5 or 6 people that all got nailed, and court ordered, of course, to go to those meetings.
I love that.
What's that old saying? I can't be an alcoholic. Alcoholics go to meetings, man. Give me some more.
All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. I'm going to go ahead and get off. I got to go to work in the morning.
I don't have to work in the morning. My kids have the day off from school tomorrow, so they should be sleeping in. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it's an alternate Columbus Day thing. I have no idea.
It's a National Indigenous People Day.
It's Friday the 13th.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, after midnight.
I don't know. Tomorrow's going to be a shit show, though, but I got to go. It was fun. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to meet you.
Bye.
Yeah, Mary's good people.
Yeah.
See, I always say there's people and persons, so I shouldn't call her people, because people are those that they're the ones that, those are the people we were warned about, and then persons are personable. So she's more a person because she's very personable and down to earth, and she's got a side of asshole over there that don't let her fool you. So, all right, are we ready to see what else we got on this meter?
Yeah, let's do it.
Why not?
Let's go.
Come on.
Homo, don't play that.
What, the homo don't play that?
Oh no.
I don't know. But it made some national news. But there was a coffee shop in Seattle, and it's owned by this gay couple. It's called Bedlam Coffee. And there's this video that's gone viral around of this gay man screaming, "Oh, you want me to, if I fucked my boyfriend in the ass right here, would you tolerate it?" It's really nasty. But
Whoa.
yeah, basically these right to lifers, you've seen these nasty abortion ads, right? Where they show the fetus in people's hands and show you like these really graphic right to lifers where they will show aborted fetuses in graphic detail. It's pretty bad out here. Like, they will protest outside of Planned Parenthood, show you aborted fetuses and other like really, really graphic stuff. Well, apparently this group had been putting these flyers up around. Some of them had made them into origami shapes, and one of the it was in the shape of a butterfly. And when you opened it up, it said, "You're not safe." And a lot of people were freaking out, thinking, "Oh, is this a terrorist attack or whatever?" But no, it was the right to lifers, the real like the Westboro Baptist type right to lifers. And yeah, these guys get pretty graphic. But anyway, so they go into this coffee shop and they sit down. And apparently the coffee shop owner found out that these people were responsible for these flyers being put up around the town. And he gets pissed off, butthurt, and decides that it's his coffee shop. He doesn't have to let these people in here. So I'm gonna see if I can find this video real quick. Where'd it go?
Why doesn't he want the right to lifers in his?
Because he said he was offended by the material they put in there, is what he claims, is that it shocked and disturbed him, and he shouldn't have to put up with that because it's his establishment.
No.
And then
That's a double standard.
Well, see, here's the funny part is when he was interviewed on our local radio station, he said that when the radio host said, well, what do you think about the person over here in the Tri-Cities that was tried for not making a cake for this gay couple's wedding? He's like, that guy shouldn't have had to do the cake either, because why would you want someone who doesn't want to make you something to make something for you? So I think that was him having a few days to think about it and respond to it. But once I find this video, let's see, you guys talk about what do you think about it, and I'll find the video. Let's see.
I'm totally fine with it. Just like I'm totally fine with the wedding cake thing. As far as I'm concerned, if you own a business, you should be able to refuse someone for whatever reason you want to, or no reason at all.
Right.
You shouldn't be able to, if you're an employee, you should have to do what your employer tells you to do. And you shouldn't do it if you're a government employee. But if you own the business, kick out whoever the hell you want. Bearing in mind, quite frequently you're going to have consequences to pay for having done it. But
let's see. I don't want to use theirs. Now, screw it. I'm going to have to use this one. I'm going to have to put my headset on my microphone. Let's see. Can you guys see the ads?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. All right. Goddamn commercials. And I don't even get the ad revenue.
Well, if you did get the ad revenue, would it be like 16 cents?
So why aren't we allowed to stay?
Be less than that, man. Probably about one penny, maybe less.
Really?
Oh, dude, man, the revenue is ridiculously ridiculous. Oh, it's hot! It's hot! It's hot! Sorry.
So something you found on public property that we right. So right. So what about a defense? Okay. There's nothing else you can say. So we're not welcome here. So you're not willing to tolerate our presence? Right. Tolerate my presence? We are. Right. We're actually in a coffee shop. Really? If I go get my boyfriend right now, gas right here, you're going to tolerate that? Your choice. Are you going to tolerate it? It's your place. Answer my. Oh, you're going to sit right here. Well, then I don't have to write this. Then leave all of them. Tell all your. Come here. Yeah, I'm like ass. I'm not going to be saved by anything. Okay? Okay, great. Good, I'm glad.
Seattle has proved itself.
All right, keep walking. Let's go.
So I don't know how well y'all were able to hear it.
Okay. Well, no. Just like what Sir Adamine said, he had the guy right there. That was his store. He had the right to do it. He could have been a little more refined, a little more polished, but he did have the right.
I agree. Honestly, if you're a business owner, you should be able to have the right to refuse service to anyone.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I'm pro-choice in certain situations, pro-life in certain situations. It all depends. I'm not a flat black or white type of regulation person, in all honesty. But I mean, some of these pictures this group uses are really graphic, traumatizing. I mean, I had a 5-year-old that when we were driving through our city, we were just driving through and these people were protesting and I didn't know about them protesting here. They had these graphic signs of these aborted fetuses and just, they're like, mommy, what's wrong with the baby? Is the baby okay? It's got owies, mommy. And so with them spreading that propaganda, that's pretty scary. And then, so, I mean, when I heard the interview with the guy, he said he wanted to shock them as much as they shocked him with their images. And, him saying that he wanted, that he'd fuck Jesus, he's hot, and the way the guy went about it, especially in Seattle, they like to claim they're real liberal, real accepting of everything, pro-gay, pro this, pro that, pro everything that just basically bedlam. Best way to describe it. And that's the name of the coffee shop is Bedlam. And it's really toxic. I mean, the fact that this guy rents out his meeting rooms for free to the general public, and he doesn't have any guidelines of anything to say that, well, if you're doing this or this or this, we reserve the right to refuse service. Honestly, I believe business owners, to protect their own asses, need to have those signs up.
Right.
And honestly, when I heard the guy's interview, I wish I could find the sound bite from that. But he said that he believed that the person that was being sued for the wedding cake thing, that his own community ostracized him for a bit because he stood up and said, well, the guy shouldn't have to make that company shouldn't have to make the cake, just plain and simple. I mean, why would you want someone that doesn't want to do it to make your thing anyway? They're going to make a substandard product.
Right. Exactly.
Well, at least he's intellectually consistent then.
That's what I can't stand a fucking double standard. I would rather somebody disagree with me completely 100% and be consistent in that than that stupid fucking double standard shit. It drives me nuts.
And see, I've always wondered with these certain extremist groups, how many of them, and this Christian group just about proved me right, these extremist groups that like to protest and say, oh, my victim card, how many of them intentionally go to places that know these people are strong in their convictions, consistent and all that? How many of them actually go to these places and pick these fucking fights? I mean, because you've got to know, especially there was a florist out here in Washington that was a very religious person, had provided bouquets of flowers for the gay couple. They were just romantic flowers and they never had a problem with, people dating or whatever. They never said anything, but they made their religious views clear and they were pretty friendly with them. And then these people who were supposedly their friends, these customers, requested that they do their wedding flowers. And the person said, no, I don't want to do that. That conflicts with my religious beliefs. And these guys just lost their shit. And so I have to wonder, if you supposedly know this person on a regular basis and you know what they stand for, why would you try to force their hands? And in Seattle, you got to know that pretty much most of the coffee shops and bars are pro-left. They really are. We live in a blue state for the most part. And for these people to go in there, these Christians, as much as I love free speech and everything, they have the right to have these goddamn flyers and traumatize people. But I mean, they also have the right to get kicked on their asses. But it seemed like they were trying to set up this gay couple too. They were trying to set up this coffee shop. So that's what it seems, is like it was a setup. Because when the guy did his interview, he said that you guys didn't hear the first 45 seconds of it where he comes in and says, hey, look, are you guys responsible for this? And the lady says she wasn't, that, oh no, we're not responsible for that. The guy says, yeah, we're responsible for it, and gets kind of a cocky attitude and then whips out his cell phone after the owner says, I don't want you here anymore, please leave, and leaves through the door. One of the people in the group said something, I can't remember for the life of me what he was quoted as saying, but after the guy made the comment, the business owner turns around, comes back out of the door, just raging pissed. And then we see that from there. That's where the video picks up from. There's apparently a lot of video that's actually missing.
Oh, okay.
So, But they got their shock and awe, but they picked the wrong state to do this in. They really did.
Right.
Right.
So you're in Washington.
Yep.
And
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, isn't the state government employees, aren't they unionized?
I couldn't tell you. My
Well, I
mother-in-law
think-
could tell you. She used to work for the DOC, and she keeps telling me to go work for the state, and I'm like, nope, I'll get fired.
Aren't pretty much all state employees across the country unionized?
No, pretty much. I think government employees are, but not Alabama. No.
I was like, we have a Washington State Employees Credit Union, so maybe they do have a union or whatever.
Yeah,
But
that's. I think I remember. See, I was wondering if it was Oregon or Washington, but it was like one of those corner states that had done that. It was like within the last 15 years, because I remember when it happened, and I was like going, "Damn, man, that is not good."
well, usually, unfortunately, with Washington and Oregon, if it's true with one, the other follows suit soon after.
Pretty much, yeah,
And it's never anything good that they do that with, honestly.
yeah. It's just it's borderline. You know, it's like the next step is socialism. You know, because once you've unionized the state government, you pretty much might as well just make it a single party. I don't know. I could go on, but anyway. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. It makes sense. It's up for discussion. So we only have 2 topics left. One of the topics, it won't take long. It takes like 5 minutes. Then we could. I'm not even gonna bother with like spinning the wheel because we got 2
That's what he
topics.
said.
All right, let's see. Hold on. The Brianna woohoo. Oh, you guys are gonna love this. Y'all
I
gotta
gotta
love
see
this
that,
shit.
man.
All right. So to preface this, the God of Cheese 147. It popped up on his channel. He did a reaction to it the other night. I'm like, I gotta share this with the world. This needs to be shared. So, all right, I'll make sure I got all the volume up. All right. So, from Miss Brianna Wu, it says, when I asked my husband if he would support me running for Congress, he said, sure. Buckle in for the retard relapse here. God damn it. What the hell?
Hey, Red.
Hold on. God damn it. All right, there we go.
Oh my God.
Tiny hand.
It's the Brianna Wu campaign coming to fight you, Donald Trump.
Brianna Wolf comments. I'm Brianna Wu, and I approve this message.
Ugh.
What the hell did I just watch?
She should not be highlighting her face.
That is a real commercial. Now, she's a Democrat with an Asian cut husband doing a freaking parody of an Asian freaking movie. And then you see all this back here. You see all this. Sailor Moon, cultural appropriation, and then that. It looks like a plastic mask, too.
Well,
I
I think her campaign isn't really a real campaign. It's just a shot at trying to get relevance again. Well, the reason I say not real, I mean, it may be real in the technical sense, but if I recall correctly, she's running against a pretty popular, pretty successful Democrat in the primaries.
But I saw that and I just about frogging died. The other one I saw, it's he did Got a Cheese put up a thing. It was a public service announcement from Sailor Moon. This was this man in a bikini talking about how he wanted wasps and stuff. But I was just like, this needs to be shared. It needs the light of day.
Oh God! Oh my God!
It's beautiful. What do you mean?
It looks like
horrible.
It looks like a kid did it.
Exactly, man. It is so bad. It's beautiful.
Well, that's because you love the Godzilla movies.
Well,
at least the husband didn't say, and Godzilla. At least he didn't do that.
Godzilla. Yes.
Pink blue for you against Godzilla Trump.
Oh, that. Oh.
I thought there needed to be a laugh or two. Oh
that was great. I loved it. It was so shitty. It was funny.
Right. I plan on fighting more cancer like that.
We really did save the best for last, though.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, let's see. Because the last one is so I don't know if I want to ask people what they thought about that. Oh, I'm gonna have nightmares for days about that shit. That's for sure. But
I'm gonna have nightmares about her.
Yeah, exactly. That face. It kind of reminds me of those people that do that living doll thing where they put on these plastic suits and these men that put on these rubber suits and pretend to be women.
Or there's sex dolls.
No, there's this one trans feminist. I can't think of her name right now. Who she looks like. God.
All of them.
No, but there's one who I constantly make fun of his or her looks, and the resemblance is striking. Zinnia Jones. Ugh.
Oh my God.
Those two could be sisters or brothers or something.
Docking partners.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do it right, like Blair does.
Right.
You know?
God bless.
At first, when I first saw her, I was convinced some of her rants are just retarded, but that's okay. Autism shared is good, but at least she's willing to go whole hog or, lose the hog, and she looks feminine and pretty convincing. She comes off catty and bitchy and you would never suspect, really.
Yeah,
I would suspect.
I would imagine if I saw her on the street and didn't know her, I wouldn't give a second thought to what she started out as.
She's got a really cute boyfriend too.
I've never seen the boyfriend.
Oh yeah, Joey. I think they're fixing to be on a TV show about and I think it's going to be on MTV, and I think it's going to be about them, a reality show about them being together. So you heard it here first. I'm not bullshitting.
That would be great.
It would. I love her, man. I showed my dad. He's 78 years old. And he's you talk about somebody that's stuck in their ways, man. He's born and bred in Alabama, and of course, I'm had to put I grew up with him trying to indoctrinate me into certain ways of thinking. But anyway, so I said, Dad, I want you to say, just curious as what he's going to say, right? And I showed him Blair, and I showed him Riley. Put them next to each other. And he looks at Blair and he goes, that is a pretty woman. And he goes, that's a
wow.
man. I mean, you know, it's just like that.
Oh, we lost dick balls, asshole.
You know, if you're going strictly by looks, Blair had a video where she showed pictures of her when she was a boy.
Yeah, I saw those.
It was, I mean, it really was meant to be the way it turned out.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at her, and there are some people that are really meant to be the other side.
Well, you know, I remember when I was a really, really young man back in the day, in the mid to late 80s, I often joked that I was a lesbian trapped in a man's body.
He loves women.
Yeah, I do. I love women, and I was told that I go down on women like a bull dyke on steroids, and you know, and I consider that a compliment. But you know, but nowadays you can literally be a lesbian trapped in a man's body and get away with it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost you on that. So,
no,
okay.
it's good. No, lesbian trapped in a man's body. I heard that. I was trying to type to Dickie and tell him good night. Thanks for participating.
Oh, dude, man.
So I almost named the thumbnail. It was like, you know, Red loses her cherry to a group thing. But
Yes, see you later, cringy dick.
So, all right. So we saved the best for last. Let's see. Hold on. Let's do it. Just because. Let's see if it was meant to be. Oh, fuck off. Do it, Wheel. Hide and seek news with Harvey. And this is for Mr. Irate Prostate himself with the topic. So I will let you present this topic, Mr.
Okay, not my
You're what you want to talk about on this topic.
All right, now I might hold this conspiracy theory to myself until I can flesh it out how I want to say it. But okay, so last weekend it came out that the Harvey Weinstein got booted by the company that has his name on it. So. You know, you figured out some bad shit that happened. Yeah, the board says you're out of here, man. And so, and then it comes out that he has like sexually hit on, abused, groped, jacked off in front of, you know.
Rose McGowan today said raped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't. Well, I mean, come on, man. Most of that shit could be considered rape if you think about it.
I think she meant like the real deal.
No. Yeah, I'm sure that happened. You know, I don't. This dude. Well, you know, and people want to really rag on that dude on Cosby, but I mean, if you look at the numbers, man, this dude, you know, is he's like Mao Zedong compared to Hitler. You know what I'm saying?
He also had a lot.
I wanted to believe in Cosby so bad.
He also had a lot more power than Cosby ever had.
Exactly.
I saw.
You know,
and I agree with you on Cosby too. That was really disappointing. I loved what he had to say about.
He was my black daddy.
I loved what he had to say about black culture, and now that's just forever tossed away.
I had his first vinyl album in my LP collection before I lost it. I had his first album. It was like I love where he
does the poem on the chigger. The little bug. Is that the one where he does that poem?
I believe it's. Okay, let's see if I can pull it. You gotta
remember that.
When
I was a kid, man.
My mental retardation.
The only thing I'll say in Cosby's defense at this point is I think a lot of these women are opportunist liars, but the law of averages has more than caught up with him. Yeah, they're not all liars.
I believe there was a lot of truth to it, but I think a bunch of them jumped on board just because. I mean, exactly. I grew up with him. Of other people that had the Cosby Show and everything else. I had picture fucking pages. All right, picture pages, come and draw your picture pages. You know. It was, you know, an educational show, and I had the pen and everything. And it's like, I grew up with this man, and growing up in the South. Now I grew up in my actual formable years, where the studies have shown that up until you're about 5 years old, you get implanted in your brain pathways, cement into who you're going to be. Are you going to be a good person, a bad person, an honest person, a dishonest person? Basically, the core of your being is created in those first 5 years of life. And in those years, I grew up down in the South. I mean, like, we had hog farms and okra patches, and, you know, we lived on, you know, the other side of the tracks, and it was very, very divided. My dad, he brought home a black girlfriend, you know, when he was growing up, and he damn near got disowned by the family. He had choices to make. They were part of the John Burke Society, KKK. You know, it was, you know, very, very black and white, literally, as to what, you know, what was okay. And it wasn't black people are bad. It was, you didn't commingle or anything like that. You know, you kept to your own. It was okay to be sociable and kind to each other, but you stuck to your own.
But don't bring one home.
Yeah, you don't bring them home. And so when we got out of there and we came up here to Washington, and serious culture shock. I mean, I went from barefoot and, you know, running around in Pampers every day to, you know, just, you know, you had to wear shoes, and that was just, it threw me for a loop. But up here, then we started, you know, watching picture pages and then being like influenced, and like other black cultures coming around. And I remember my parents protesting, you know, at the school. They were honoring Martin Luther King Day, and my mom, who was a damn Yank, was even like, no. Yeah, there's things you don't know, kid. But she didn't want to like elaborate or anything. But so Bill Cosby made it more accessible to me, more personable. And, you know, I really liked the guy, and it opened my bigoted mind of, okay, it was okay to have black friends, but you didn't want to really incorporate them into your life. I wanted Bill Cosby in my life.
Well, see, I watched Fat Albert, man. That was like part of the daily Saturday, you know, staple, you know, Fat Albert and all his friends, and they were all voiced by Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I remember watching Fat Albert, but seriously, like picture pages, like seriously, like brought it home for me.
Yeah,
I mean, it really did. I mean, because you know, yeah, you know, the Cosby kids and all that, Fat Albert, they were all entertaining, but Bill Cosby came in, and, you know, he was like the black Mr. Wizard. You know?
Yeah, he had a degree. You know, he had a degree in psych. I think he's got maybe not a doctorate, but I know he's got at least a master's in psychology.
Yeah, and maybe it's just me, but I grew up at the time where, you know, it was yes, ma'am, no, sir, you know, and you had to respect your elders, period.
We were talking about this exact same thing during one of your breaks before the stream started.
Before I figured this shit out, kind of. But I mean, he was, you know, he had the authority. There was no shame or holding back or, well, I know you don't think I'm as good as you are, but, you know, nothing like that. It was, I am equal. I demand respect. Even when he had his little friendly personas on, the friendly personas still demanded respect and commanded authority. There was just something in his delivery. And so I could see some people being intimidated, and like the Hollywood lifestyle, and people being like, well, if you're going to do, you got to do, kind of thing. But I really honestly do think a lot of them were just jumping on the bandwagon and just trying to get down with, you know, the Cosby train. And I'm pretty sure he did let the power go to his head, because he was living in a time where, you know, they were really, the black community was really coming into their own with power and presence in Hollywood.
Yeah, well, and he had the #1 show, family sitcom on television, the first black family sitcom ever, where the family was integrated. They were upper middle class. You know, they had, you know, he was a professional. Was he I never watched it because I was too old.
I watched that show every week when I was a kid.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right.
And his wife was a lawyer.
Right.
And it was an intact.
And she didn't take any guff from her husband. She didn't take any lip. She's like, no, you didn't.
And at the time, that was the most popular show in the U.S. period.
Right, and that was and the significance of that. You know, you talk about breaking a barrier, breaking a glass, something. You know, that show definitely did that, because, you know, up until then, the only, you know, all black sitcoms that were, you know, pretty much white accessible were like, you know, Good Times and you know, JJ Walker and all that bunch. But they were
laughing stock, kind of.
They would no. They lived in a projects. See that?
Yeah.
You know, they were where
Yeah,
blacks were supposed to be. You know.
Yeah, the Cosby Show and Family Matters were the two good ones as far as
Oh
that
God,
goes.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Minus
like,
Urkel.
Family Matters might have made Urkel a nerd, but they like also made him suave too at the end. It's like they knew how to progress things. And I mean, honestly, Bill Cosby did do a lot of good for the industry. And anyone, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, freaking whatever the hell you want to call yourselves, can let ego go to their head. Male, female.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
Ego can go to one's head no matter who you are. And it happens to a lot of people in power in Hollywood where they're like, oh, well, I can demand things from these up and comers and get it. And almost every human being tests their boundaries and their limits. And when limits are not established, they'll test them and they'll go over them.
Right. I was going to say, even people on YouTube can go that way.
Oh,
You know?
yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine that?
It's called the VidCon disease.
Dude,
I'm going to VidCon next year just for shits and giggles.
Well, please don't come out a celebrity.
Oh, fuck no! I've got some folks to keep my ass humble.
It's because too many people who don't make shit off of YouTube came back thinking they were something, and they were.
Yeah, no, I've got Geek Thulu, Brown Bomber, Irate Prostate. I got a bunch of people to keep me humble. Geek and Bomber and Dickie and Mary all know where I came from and who I was, and basically it's like I'm just this asshole with an attitude, and you know I'm just me, and they'll definitely keep me humble.
Well, there's only one person on YouTube who's a celebrity.
PewDiePie.
Yeah, everyone else is at best fairly successful.
Fodder. Everybody else is ad fodder.
Well,
if they're lucky.
I mean, even
hey, my husband has made a total of $8 from YouTube. He actually got a paycheck. I think it was for oh god, I have to tell you, but he was actually partnered with Maker Studios. Got like 2 years ago. He was working on the other side of the state, and so he started doing vlogs, and he actually has a video with over 10,000 views, and it was him stapling water to a tree.
Well, I mean, that sounds great.
It was great. It's like basically, no, he stapled this water to the tree. It froze, so it was still technically water stapled to a tree. And you wouldn't believe the debates that caused in the comments. But anyway, so he ended up partnered with Make Your Studios, and he didn't really make much content or ad revenue or anything. And so he hadn't made videos in like over 6 months because he'd been home. And then the Maker Studios did their transition thing, like when they got rid of PewDiePie and everything else. They cashed people out, and he got a paycheck from Maker Studios. He's like, I'm a paid YouTuber. Well, no, we both framed that just because it's like, yep, you're a paid YouTuber, honey. You get paid for content now.
That's hilarious. Well, you
know, I mean, even someone like Sargon, he's not a celebrity. He's moderately upper middle class. That's it.
Yeah, not only that, but he's like.
And I don't think he's one of the ones with an
everywhere.
ego problem, by the way. Let me just say that. I love Sargon.
Well, see, Sargon's not an everywhere name either. PewDiePie, even people in like the non-YouTuber, non-like consumer community has heard of PewDiePie.
Right.
I mean,
and
so, but Sargon, people might have heard about him a little bit, but not mainstream like they did about PewDiePie being Hitler.
No.
I mean, come on now.
No.
PewDiePie is a legitimate celebrity, but even what's his name? The guy who does the Daily Show, who I like.
Jon Stewart?
No, on YouTube.
Sorry.
Crowder.
No, Daily Show on YouTube. You all know him.
Trevor Noah?
Oh. Trevor Noah?
No, the really nice guy. God, I'm horrible with names. I'm sorry.
You mean like the one that's on every day?
Yeah. It's like, let's jump right into this.
Oh, yeah. Sticks, Hexenhammer.
No, it's Philip.
No.
Philip DeFranco, are you talking about Philip?
Thank you.
No, Uzi Q said it. Uzi said it first. I just said it
again, I'm just horrible with names. He's got 5 million subs. He's not a celebrity.
Yeah.
He's a mid-level executive.
He didn't even win the the Streamies. So they had like the YouTuber thing where it was he lost to a group, but at least he didn't lose to the Young Turks. Thank God.
Yeah.
God.
So.
Yeah. Chink, you see and
it's the young jerk offs is what I call that.
I don't even think they're considered, celebrities. Even though I'm sure they would beg to differ.
Because they're
just because you argue with fucking Ann Coulter doesn't mean
I can argue with anyone. It doesn't make it entertaining.
you're right in line at fucking McDonald's or some shit. It's well,
they are fucking better than you.
God.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna look at this because I'm subscribed to PewDiePie, and I'll admit it was the whole Hitler thing that made me want to watch him just because.
That's what made me subscribe.
Yeah. That's why I actually started watching it, because before that I was like, that is an annoying fucking asshole. But let's see. His crafting for my pets video had 2,108,101 videos or views. All right. Over 2 million views of him making shoes for his pet hedgehog. All right. How many other people can say that?
No one.
I know I can't.
I mean, he seriously tried to do something Marzia would do. And let's see, how long was that video? An 11-minute video. This one right here. 2 million views.
Jesus. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, he's cutting out felt to make tiny shoes. Yeah, this right here. 2 million motherfucking views.
Amazing.
Yeah, and now he's gonna make a hat for Slippy. Make PewDiePie great again is what the hat says.
But he does have a very likable personality.
Yeah, he does.
I was gonna say, isn't there a subgenre of YouTube where they go through million view videos and watch them and they're like the dumbest shit,
well, you need to start things on melt things with like superheated heat metal. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Oh yeah, the hot knife challenge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did some serious mockeries of that. And like there's another one he did, like everybody mocks him for his "you laugh you lose" challenges, but he still gets millions of freaking views for it.
Yep.
And then this asshole like puts up the little banner ads that pop up at the bottom of his video, an 11-minute video, and it has 3 commercial breaks. I mean, and then he started doing this thing of Christian content Felix, So, I mean, he knows his audience.
Yeah.
So, this. So, you can tell he's even burnt out. It's like he wants to stop, but he can't. Oh, God damn, it's Max Burr. Max Burr, you're getting a wrench. See, I'm going to take the Tonka approach, and if I wrench everybody, nobody gets fucked.
Hey,
or
Max.
I'll just say anybody that was here tonight at Jen's cherry popping event gets a wrench. Everybody else can get fucked by those with wrenches.
I have a message for Max. I love you. I follow you. I've been trying to give you money for a year to do art for me. What the hell is your problem?
Sailor's wrench too. Drunken Sailor, you're awesome. In the Discord, she's Drunken Gardener. So one of these days she'll pick a profession.
That's hilarious.
So you guys are catching us towards the end. Oh God, we've been streaming for 2 hours, but that's okay. Red had caramel whiskey, so we're good.
We haven't actually gotten into the Weinstein thing though.
Oh, okay. So I'll let you guys get the Weinstein thing because I paid a little bit of attention to it, but I'm like, God damn, another.
I think you know what? I think that if you want to, we can go ahead and stop because there's going to be more revealed on this stuff, and I think that it would be. I think it's the devil's advocate natural for that, man, because there's so many jokes in there. I think my big thing about it is that Hollywood has been this virtue signaling, bunch of, horrible, holier than thou motherfuckers. And they have literally, endorsed, encouraged this cesspool of a literal rape culture. People use that word rape culture and shit, but that's what that is. exactly what was going on. Everybody knew what was going on, and nobody did jack shit about it. Women pretended like, you know, it wasn't happening or it didn't happen to them. They thanked the motherfucker when they were getting, like Gwyneth Paltrow. You know, she gets an Oscar, and you know, a couple weeks before, Harvey Weinstein had tried to get her to blow him or some shit, and she's looking at him saying, and I especially want to thank Harvey Weinstein. Meryl Streep called him her god.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and then they want to tell us that we, you know, I'm an asshole because I voted a certain way, right? You're an asshole for not putting that motherfucker in jail when he needed to be put in jail. It's ridiculous.
Right.
I'm not emotional about this at all, though.
Oh, there's so much humor that's about to come out about this. I mean, just last night, Lena Dunham started tweeting attacks against him. I mean, how perfect is that? And now
nobody would rape Lena Dunham.
I heard that he wouldn't even rape her. Not even Harvey Weinstein would made a pass at Lena Dunham.
I don't think a horny walrus would rape her.
Oh my God. Okay, so I have a cute story about out here at Point Defiance Zoo. There was this walrus, E.T., and there was this German couple, didn't speak much English, and they came and they saw him, and they're like, oh my God, this is great, because they have the underground, you know, the Rocky Shores exhibit and all that. And so the husband decided he wanted to take a picture with his wife, and so she gets in front of the window where E.T. the walrus is, and he starts jerking off behind her in the water. Flippers, walruses do jerk off, all right? They do. All right, and E.T.'s a fucking sexual pervert. That's why they had to take the seals out of his enclosure and get some female walruses in there. It's because he was raping the seals to death.
The rapist walrus.
So this lady I was talking to, because she this is about 8 years ago or so, we were walking through, and she was like giving us a tour because my mom was in a wheelchair. And so she's like, yeah, so about a month and a half after this couple from Germany visited us, I got a picture sent to me. And here was his wife with this big smile, touristy thing going on, and a walrus ejaculating above her head.
Oh, I would love to see that. Oh my God. I would give anything to see a video. I want to see a video of a fucking walrus jacking off. I think that would be.
Well, let's see if I can Google that. I'm not worried about monetization, so let's see if I can Google that.
You know, even if
if you find that, send it to all of us.
Monetized, and you were getting like really what you're worth on this thing, you know, it'd be worth blowing a couple $100 just to see a fucking walrus jack off.
Let's see if I
would, if I could blow that kind of money, I would.
Hey, guess what I found?
And speaking of money, I do have a picture.
That's an animated one, you motherfucker.
I want to do my failure imitation. Give me money, please.
Oh, can we request you work on impersonations? All right.
Yeah.
You should request anything in life.
I would love to hear you develop a Liz Reptile one.
Okay, I will write it down.
Although that might end up being harder on your throat than the Alex Jones one.
I don't know. It takes a little bit, but I can give like a reasonable facsimile if I listen to it enough. I can approximate something. Sometimes it's gestures that sell it, you know, more than just the sound.
Well, I'd say to a Joy Sparkles one, but the meth and/or coke would probably be bad for your heart.
Oh, it'd fuck my heart up, dude. No. Oh, Joy Sparkles, man, she makes my willy really rise.
Yeah.
Well,
I think she might be the Lena Dunham of YouTube.
Well, but she's better looking than Hillary. You got to give her that.
The only person I can definitively say is better or is, well, no. Nope.
Even Riley's prettier than her.
At least Hillary can say she looks better than her daughter.
Wow.
Which, by the way, is a tweet I sent to her daughter once.
As a matter of fact, dude, I have got
And
a
I
fucking,
found my strike.
I got a picture. I got a screen cap of Chelsea Clinton like chastising Harvey Weinstein. And if I find it, I'll put it. I'll send it to you, man, because it is funny as shit.
There's a girl who is safe from rape.
Well,
Y'all see that?
Kids.
No, hold on. Oh, hell, blew well.
They got it. They got it blacked out.
What is this thing? Is that a walrus?
Yeah, he's jerking off with his feet.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
Wow.
oh my
That is a
Lord.
schlong, dude. My God.
Oh, next one's Walrus and his genitals. Walrus fucking his genitals. Fucking Walrus is jerking off with his foot flippers.
You got to give him credit. He is hung, man.
Bye, channel. Bye. Bye, channel.
Well,
That's excellent.
Oh, you're
Clearly-
welcome, America
clearly
Phoenix.
this
I
walrus
decided
does
anybody
not
that
look-
was here to pop the group cherry gets wrenched tonight. Which means
Clearly this
Pete and
walrus
Brown
is-
Bomber don't get a wrench.
Well, and tomorrow
And that
night.
child's face. They're letting the kid watch the walrus jerk
Oh
off.
my God. Oh, that's horrible. I was going to
But
say
it's educational.
tomorrow we're doing the cream stream, same bat time, same bat channel, and everybody
Look at
in
his
the
hands,
room
though.
is invited to. Everybody in our room who can hear us and talk to each other, come by and check it out. Do a will to be with me. And Red and Sir Adamantine you're cordially invited to hang out tomorrow night.
I'll be there.
Maybe we can have some more fun.
Should I bring the walrus
stuff.
porn?
Absolutely. Please do. All right.
Yeah, I may be there for part of it.
Yeah, she usually comes in about halfway into it. So,
I have to work.
yeah. Wally
That's
World
what the
calls her
walrus
name.
said.
Adds a little southern charm.
That's right. All right, amigos and amigasita, we must leave. Okay.
All right. I figure, yeah, this, walrus jerking off on my stream is a good place to leave.
Beautiful.
So, Irate, if you want to plug your channel, then I will put your link in the description once I figure out how to do that because it's my first stream.
I just did it.
You did it?
Just check it out, and if you
On
like
side
my
chat?
shit, if you
Is it
don't,
on side chat or general chat?
I just you want the link to it?
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description of the video, and I'll make sure everybody gets your content. He's sucking his own dick.
Hey, if I could reach, I'd never leave the house.
And that teenage boy is
Yeah.
like, God damn, I wish I was a walrus.
I rate at your age, you're much more likely to get a back condition than any satisfaction out of town.
Oh my
Indeed.
Let's see.
All right,
Let's see.
all right, I've copied it. All right, I'm going to pop it in the side chat here, sweetheart.
All right.
All right, and we are.
Walruses are horny fucks.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, they are sexual beings.
Oh my God. It's the mustache. That's what it is. It's them whiskers.
It's a porn stash. We just watched walrus porn. All right, y'all, later, okay?
All right,
Night-night.
later.
All right, prostate, Uzi.
Night, Uzi. Night, Irate.
Good night.
All right, Sir Adamantine, if you want to plug your shit before the
I have-
walrus does it for you,
I have no shit to plug.
you got a Twitter. You got some amusing shit on Twitter.
That's true. We've got at Sir Adamantine. Basically, it's either sexual harassment or vicious attacks on strangers.
Well, hell, my Twitter profile says I may be an asshole or just have an opinion. The answer is 42. Do you have the right question?
Yes. I think we have more than a few things in common.
Right? I mean, seriously, So it's like anybody that wants to check out this, the midweek windup is going to be a new regular thing. Basically, I'll do the serious side where we can actually have some real adult like. I'm not going to say actual adult discussion because I don't think there were very many adults among us. But we'll have adult like discussions to get people, wound up for Sunday's Devil's Advocates because we do a show on Sundays. The Mercolium and I do. It's called the Devil's Advocates. We have a wheel, just like my measly excuse for one, but you spin for a teammate, and then the first person picked decides if they want to be pro or con, and then you get your pro or con teams, and then we spin for questions. Like you could be so lucky, like me, to where you have to argue pro-slavery, pro-feminism, all kinds of great things. So. But the problem we've had is during some of the Devil's Advocate streams, we had to have a little bit of real talk because some people had some real convictions and just, thoughts on the issue. So we're going to start doing the, serious discussion on midweek, and the same topics will be what we'll have on Sunday. And those will be the joke questions, like, is it okay to give a guy HIV, or something like that, So we'll just test it out, see how it works out. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it's Red of 18. One of these days we'll get you on Sundays. We had Irate on there. I think it was last week. So
be happy to be invited.
Yeah, come with a sense of humor and your inner asshole intact. 2
things I always carry with me.
Right? So, all right. Let's see if I can figure out how to end the goddamn stream. So let's see. Where's the button? Is that the button? No, that's not the button. All right. Is that the button? Where's my Hangouts? There it is. All right. Well, good night, folks. Thanks for checking it out.
Night, everyone.
All right. Let's see if I can do this. Night.